don't settle for one tradesperson. Just ring around and try and find someone who you can work with. Any sort of work where you need to go out into a pool of people and find a good resource who can do the work for you. If at all possible, give them a little job and see how they execute it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. This is OP, where I talk about health, wealth and happiness. So today's been a busy morning, and this is obviously the second episode that I am filming in my car. So I don't know how these are going to turn out, but let's see. Hopefully it's not too noisy. Let me just check if the audio is working. Oh yeah, audio seems to be fine. So annually I actually have to get fire inspections done on the properties. So just make sure that the smoke alarms are working, the exit lights are working, and all of that stuff from an insurance compliance perspective. The insurance premiums have just gone up ridiculous amounts. I don't know what's going on. So last year they were between $3,500 and $4,000. I have a feeling this year it'll be close to $4,000 as well, but it is what it is. But I've never made a claim, like, ever. So yeah, it's such a shame that they just keep going up, but it is what it is. So interesting story, right? These fire inspectors that I got, so today I got a new guy, but it's from the same company. Initially when this requirement came in, so there is a council requirement as well, just to make sure that the smoke alarms are there and so forth, and they check it periodically. But the insurance companies actually need a formal checklist ticked through saying, hey, I've checked this, I've checked that, I've checked this, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So when I was trying to find a person who can do this, I was ringing around, found this guy, seemed reasonably okay. Then I send him the floor plans, and he goes through it, and he sends me back going, you got to get this fixed, that fixed, and all of this. And I'm going, mate, this does not seem right. So he even wanted me to change the front door locks because it can't be opened by a person with a disability or something. And I'm like, these aren't NDIS properties, these are just sort of standard properties. And they're one of those push-pull locks. So I don't know if you've ever seen these Samsung push-pull locks. They're really awesome. I've got them installed at my house as well. So, you don't need any keys. You just press a PIN number, or you can do the thumbprint thing. I don't do the thumbprint thing because, I'm not going to give my biometric data to anyone. But so I use the PIN. And they've been really great. So anyway, a bit of back and forth. This guy wasn't budging, and I'm like, okay, forget this guy. I started ringing around more, and I found my current guy who does the fire inspection. And he's, great guy, does his thing. Obviously very thorough, checks the fire extinguishers and everything like that. And yeah, so the point of this story is, don't settle for one tradesperson. Just ring around and try and find someone who you can work with, that's not going to rip you off, that'll do a good job, that'll communicate with you and respond when you send them a text message or pick up the phone when you call them. When I found my current electrician, I remember there was a large job that needed to be done. It was going to cost me over $5,000, but I'm like, okay, I don't want to give this to some cowboy, so let me just do a bit of research. So reached out. I probably rang about 10 electricians. None of them picked up. So that's how bad this particular, I don't know if it's just the electricians. I actually can't, because I've done this with plumbers as well. It's just tradies in general. Either they are all busy, or they are, I don't know, they just don't know how to run a business. So found this particular electrician. I sent him a message, and he basically asked me a bunch of questions. And I thought, before I give him this, $5,000 job, let me get him to install a ceiling fan on my current house. Sorry, it wasn't a ceiling fan. It was one of those exhaust fans in the toilet, because this particular house that I bought, one of the toilets didn't have a exhaust fan, which I thought was a bit weird. But anyway, he turned down. Great communication, well presented, nice guy. and got that ceiling fan installed, within 10 minutes. So it was nothing. So the entire experience was great. Therefore, I gave him the big job, and I haven't regretted it. And since then, he's done a bunch of work for me, and we're mates now. So this is the sort of the stuff that I recommend when it comes to finding not only just tradespeople, but even if you've got IT work or contracting work or any sort of work where you need to go out into a pool of people and find a good resource who can do the work for you. If at all possible, give him a little job, or him or her a little job, and see how they execute it. See how they communicate, as I said. See how they come, how much they come back to you. So believe it or not, before I found my video editors, I ended up giving the job to 3 people, and ended up picking, the one that I went with because of their communication, because their, the quality was good in terms of the output. So that's sort of how I've done my talent hunting, and it's worked out really well for me. I mean, there's been instances where it hasn't gone well for me. I'll share one of those stories as well. So one of them was, going back to that Samsung lock that I was talking about. This is in the early days. I needed the Samsung lock installed, and the door that I had in this particular house was a beautiful timber door, wooden door. I don't know if it's timber, but yeah, wooden door. And I'm like, I don't want to butcher this door. I want to make sure that it's installed properly. And I ended up just trying to find online a specialist who can install Samsung locks. Maybe that was my mistake, because I ended up looking for a specialist instead of just a locksmith. Anyway, found this guy. They quoted me $350 to get the lock installed. They rock up at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and immediately I'm like going, they don't look bright, but they've got all the equipment, all the stuff, and they started, doing their thing. 3 hours later, they were still going, and now they've got the chisels out. They're completely butchering the side of the door. Anyway, they eventually got two locksmiths or whoever they were. They got it installed. The lock was working, but the side of the, I don't know what you call the door jamb, they had hacked it really bad. It just didn't look good, but the lock worked. So anyway, I paid him cash. I gave him $50 extra because I felt like I felt bad for them, and I didn't know any better. And they went on their merry way. It was only until years later I realized that I had been, I guess, ripped off by a bunch of cowboys who were not locksmiths, who didn't know what they were doing, and who had butchered my door, which will cost me probably, upwards of maybe $1,000 to fix, because the door jamb's completely gone. So so it's been probably about 5 years now. I need to change the door lock, because they've got the newer door locks where you can have a bunch of different pin numbers. So for every tenant, they can have their own pin number, not just the one generic pin number. Also, you don't have to have the key tag fobs anymore. So that's sort of outdated technology now. But this particular door lock doesn't support that, because it's like the first generation. But for me to upgrade that, I need to fix the door. So that's it. Yeah. So the point of this whole story is, look, you don't know what you don't know. But at the time, I didn't know, and I got shafted. What can you do? So try and do some due diligence. Just on a very side note, I spoke to my current locksmith, and I am going to actually do a proper podcast with him, sit down and actually have a chat with him. There is a scam going on in Australia at the moment where, you call up and go, hey, I want a key cut because I've locked myself out. They'll say, hey, look, the call out fee is $30, something really small. They come to your house and they either pick the lock somehow, or they cut you a new key, and then they quote you $800, sometimes a little bit less. And this has happened to a friend of mine. That's how I know it's real. Yeah, it's a complete scam, because a standard locksmith will call, will charge you maybe $300-400 as a call out fee on a Sunday. And most people are like, $300-400, I forget that. I'll pass. But then they speak to these other guys, call out fees only $30, $40, $50 max. But when they come to your house, that's when they go, hey, sorry, it's a Sunday, it's after hours, it's this and that. And I might be getting the figures a little bit off, but you get the idea. That's currently happening in Victoria, at least. I don't know about the other states, but just be really mindful of that. And if you are going to find a locksmith, make sure that they're a reputable locksmith. That's it for this video. I hope you have a great day, and see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.